the reference that you had. Craig, you have audio recordings, I assume you kept, of Ron? I mean, Matthew, are you able to listen to how he speaks? Are there written works? Do you keep notes, save letters, save diaries? What were the kinds of reference materials that you had to
First thing I got was from Craig, which was, I don't know, how many hours? 16 hours, was I right? 16 hours of his first interviews with Ron. What I got from that was a lot of different variations for how to play the scenes. A lot of different, he had so many stories. He was a great storyteller with different variations of how he dealt with opposition. Because he's running into opposition throughout this film. And one of the things as an actor, I was like, okay, we have to show some variation with the opposition. Out of what? What was the main thing coming from this guy, Ron Woodroof? Rage. And that's the emotion that gets more than any other emotion. That was very important. Also, not just the information that was there, but how he spoke. He would speak like a doctor, someone with medical knowledge, an expert on HIV, and in the same sentence as he was explaining that, he'd slip off into a conspiracy theory about the fucking FDA and one of those motherfuckers are maybe out there right now, and he'd come back with a funny joke about something slanderous, and then he'd lose his train of thought. You could hear the dementia would slip in. So it was, the way his mind worked in one paragraph, the sentences were very acute, and his change of emotion was very acute. Then I went to see his family, and they gave me, they opened up their house. They were very honest about who Ron was and who he wasn't. They did not try and glorify him and his martyrdom. They were really honest about, oh, he stole my cars. He took all my value. But geez, we loved him. They were very honest about who he was and who he was not. Then they gave me what was my secret weapon, which was his diary, which was the diary before he had HIV. And that's where I understood who the man was before this disease came on, which ironically gave him the first purpose and clear identity, something to fight for in his life. He was living in a small town. He'd write in his diary about Sunday night, about getting ready for Monday morning, and he pressed his shirts and put a new battery in his pager because tomorrow morning I'm going to really get those jobs to go fix those speakers and that stereo across town, and I think I can make $40 on this. And then all of a sudden that job would get canceled because the big company that had 8 employees across town got the job. And then you slowly, through the week, you could sense it. You'd see him start to wither and become less structured with his ambition in life. And he'd drive down to the drive-in to go get a burger from the girl who was the manager, who was kind of cute, and would give him a double for the price of a single, And then 4 weeks later, he'd write about, my favorite number 62, because me and Sheila, the girl from Sonic, where I went to the drive-in, we shagged up in room 62. And so you saw this guy sort of wandering, and then you see his Saturday night stuff where you could tell he was high and doodling and trying to get out of there. I mean, the guy liked big band jazz. The guy dressed up as a gangster almost every single Halloween, and sometimes just on Tuesdays because he felt like it. And when he stole 2 cars, he took them to Jersey. So he had something going on up there with Boardwalk Empire. Anyway, he had something going. He was ready. He wanted to get out. And I don't know where he wanted to go, but he was lost and wandering, and he was pretty lonely. And the ironic, sad thing is that this disease is actually what gave him something clear to fight and claw for 24/7.